Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening. Welcome to the very first episode of Echoes of Enlightenment. In these episodes, I will be reading my favorite parts of the text that I've been listening and reading in the last couple of years. Today, I bring to you my favorite part of Homer's Iliad, and I call it Thersites roasts the royals. So to give you a bit of context, before Thersites intervenes in the Iliad, the epic poem unfolds against the backdrop of the Trojan War. The Greeks, or Achaeans, led by Agamemnon, have been besieging the city of Troy, that is located in Ilion, for years, seeking to reclaim Helen, the wife of Menelaus, who has been taken by Paris, a prince of Troy. The war has been marked by numerous battles, heroism, and divine interventions from the gods. In the Iliad, the narrative focuses primarily on the ninth year of the war. The Greek forces are facing a crisis as a devastating plague, sent by Apollo as punishment for Agamemnon's actions, ravages their camp. This prompts Achilles, the greatest warrior among the Greeks, to call for an assembly to address the situation. In this assembly, Agamemnon and Achilles engage in a heated dispute over honor and prize. Agamemnon, the commander-in-chief, has been forced to return Chryseis, a young woman he had claimed as his war prize, due to the intervention of her father, a priest of Apollo, the very god that was ticked off from Agamemnon's actions. In retaliation, Agamemnon seizes Briseis, Achilles' own war prize, as compensation, deeply insulting the mighty warrior. Enraged and feeling dishonored, Achilles withdraws from the battle, abandoning his comrades and seeking retribution against Agamemnon. This is afterwards. This decision has severe consequences for the Greek forces as they face defeat and the loss of many lives without their greatest warrior on the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Trojans, led by Hector, gather their forces and push back against the Greeks, gaining momentum in the absence of Achilles. As the Greek forces suffer heavy losses, tensions rise within their ranks. Agamemnon begins to realize the gravity of his actions and the dire consequences they have brought upon his army. It is within this context, amidst the turmoil and discord, that Thersites, a common soldier known for his sharp tongue and irreverence, finds his opportunity to voice his dissent. And so Homer's Iliad reads thus when describing the assembly of the Achaeans before the attack on Troy. I'm using the translation by Augustus Tabor Moray from 1924. So it goes thus. But one man was blustering and railing still. This was Thersites, a man with an inexhaustible flood of words, always ready to talk and no manners and no sense. Anything to annoy the princess, anything to raise a laugh. And he was the ugliest man ever seen before Ilion. He was a bandy-legged and lame of one foot, a humpback, with his two shoulders crushed together into his chest. And so did Odysseus, for he was always badgering them. But this time he chose Agamemnon to revile with his piercing outcry. All the men were horribly angry with him and thought him a disgrace, but he shouted aloud his insults against Agamemnon. Your Majesty, what's wrong now? What do you want now? Plenty of treasure in your quarters, plenty of women in your quarters, the best of them, chosen by us to give you whenever we take a place. Or is it more gold you want, which some gentleman will bring you out of Ilias to ransom his son when I caught him, or some other fellow, or brought him in fast bound? Or do you want a young woman to love and keep for yourself? It is not the proper thing for the master to drive his men into trouble. You fellows are all softies, disgraces, a lot of women, not men at all. Let us make sail for home and leave this man in the place to digest his gorge of prizes. Let him see if we are any help to him or not. Look how he has insulted Achilles, a much better fellow than he is. Took his prize and keeps her. Robs the man himself. But there is not an angry thought in Achilles. He is a gentle one. Or else, your majesty, this would be your last outrage. There was a fine ranting speech against Agamemnon, king of men. Odysseus was by the man's side in a moment and frowned as he mercilessly told him off. You are a great orator, Thersites, ready to say anything, but hold your tongue now. You had better not divide princes in a minority of one. I declare you are the vilest man of all those who our royal captains have brought to Ilius. Then you should be the last man to take a king's name in your mouth, and pour out insults on him, and think of going home. We do not yet know clearly how things will turn out, whether good or evil will go with our homeward voyage. And so you sit here and revile our lord Agamemnon, because the fighting men give him a handsome share of the spoil. A regular jeering speech. Listen to me, and don't make any mistake about it. If I find you playing the fool again like this, may the head of Odysseus no longer sit on his shoulders. May I no longer be called the father of Telemachus if I don't strip the clothes from your body. Strip off the cloak and shirt that cover your nakedness and send you off to the ships roaring with pain after a good sound drubbing. With this he brought down the sceptre with a whack between the man's shoulders. He shrank and great tears fell from his eyes as a blood-red weal showed up across his back. He sat down terrified and wiped his eyes with a helpless look in great pain. Then all forgot their troubles and burst into merry laughter. And you might see one say to another, Ha ha ha! Odysseus has done us many a good turn, good lead and counsel, good lead in the field. But he never did us a better turn than this. Now he has stopped this damn word-slinger from his speechifying. I don't think he will pluck up courage to rail at kings again with his foul tongue. And this was it. So, as for commentary, Thersites' intervention is driven by a combination of frustration, disillusionment, and the desire to expose the flaws and hypocrisy of the heroes and leaders who have plunged the Greeks into the chaos of war. This is only also pretty much the only part in the entire Iliad where someone says something of sense, and it turns out the one who says something of sense is a bandy-legged, crippled, uh, humpback, misshapen guy that also is the bearer of the truth. And so, in a clear illusion that the most important truths are bitter and ugly and disturbing, here we have this character, Thersites, embodying this ironic reality of truth. Um, Also, this intervention serves as a moment of truth, a piercing critique of the prevailing narratives of glory and heroism. Thersites' words challenge the established order, exposing the darker aspects of human nature and the contradictions that exist within the Greek camp. Through his dissenting voice, Thersites shines a light on the complexities of war, honor, and the innate fallibility of those who are considered great. And so, this is as much for our first episode of Echoes of Enlightenment. I hope you guys extracted some value from this reading and commentary, and I hope to see you soon next time. Bye.